Live because we're breaking down two of the divisions today on the podcast. So, real quick, if you haven't already, hit subscribe because we're hitting two of all the divisions because we're going to break down the rest of them over the next 2 weeks, and you don't want to miss a single episode. So, Tubby, welcome back to NFL Live.
I mean, it's football season. I watched preseason football all weekend.
I know
So,
it snuck up.
it's
I was
here.
like, dude, I'm ready to watch. So, of it, what you watched, was there
Mhm.
one thing you were like, hey, I wanted to watch that guy play. I wanted to see how the team was going to utilize this player, rookies, anything like that?
Uh, I think the guy I was most interested to see was, if we're looking rookie wise, Jackson Dart. We wanted to see how he performed and how he you know controlled the offense, and I thought he looked really good. There's some
Hmm.
things where you could tell he got sped up quite a bit in some of his drop backs, but other than that, I thought he looked like he commanded the field and the team pretty well. And then if we're just talking about like maybe a second year guy, it was JJ McCarthy for the Vikings. What was JJ going to look like pretty much being out of football for almost a year?
Yeah. And early thoughts on both of those storylines going into it, what were your takeaways?
Like I said, I thought I thought he looked really good and had great command of the offense. I mean, I don't know if you saw that touchdown pass. It was a beautiful, perfectly placed pass in the
Hmm.
quarter of the end zone. And I thought McCarthy looked solid for the most part, but there was quite a few, or at least a couple throws where there were overthrows. They were playing against the majority of the first team defense, or
Hmm.
no, second team defense for the Texans. And that's what made me kind of go, okay, Vikings, yeah, it's only one game in the preseason, but maybe we're talking about them having a bit of a slide this year because of the inconsistencies already in game one with some of
Hmm.
the overthrows across the middle of the field.
Well, so to his credit, points on the first drive that they had. It was a
Yeah.
long, slow, methodical
Hmm.
drive. Second drive, the team had. I don't think he did the second drive, did he? No, Sam
No,
Howell came in. So
Sam
that
Howell
was my
came in.
biggest takeaway. You got to let the guy play more. He's out all
Yeah.
year. He's so out of rhythm. Play the kid. Play the kid.
Yeah.
I know
And
he was injured, but you're gonna have to play him at some point and get the rhythm, get his legs back.
mhm.
He needs it. I would agree with you, kind of what you said. The biggest one that I was looking at was obviously Shadur Sanders. I want him to be the best quarterback in this draft class. He's got a chip on his shoulder, and you know what? I thought he did well. He
Yeah.
did have one throw, should have been a pick.
Mhm.
Luckily, was dropped, and the receiver did a good job playing DB on that play. But
Yeah.
I love what I saw from him, especially because he's with the Browns, and I don't expect anything solid from the Browns this year. So he
Yeah.
was a good storyline going into that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I thought Shador looked really good. Yeah, and people were like, "Oh, he played against second team defense most of the time." That's okay
Yeah.
because he should do that against a second team defense. Now, if he would have played bad against the second team defense, it would have been a different storyline. But he
Hmm.
came out there and he played good, and I saw a better pocket presence from him than I saw in college. There was
Hmm.
the first touchdown he threw where he had the rusher coming free. The running back was able to chip him a little bit, but he takes that side step,
Hmm.
plants his feet again, and delivers the ball in the middle of the end zone. So I thought he looked really good. It's crazy. That he's still the fourth string quarterback. I mean, after that, I would have been probably more if I was Stefanski going, okay, let's really see what he's got and let's put him out there against a team if they're going to play their starters and really see what we have because we know Joe Flacco's not the answer. We know Kenny Pickett's not the answer. So
Correct.
which one of the rookie quarterbacks is it going to be?
Well,
Is it Dylan Gabriel or is it Shador Sanders?
I,
And
come on, it's no offense. Love Dylan Gabriel, great college
mhm,
quarterback. I just don't see the talent being able to
yeah,
close the gap that is in the NFL. The talent gap,
yeah,
and I do see the potential there for Shadur Sanders. But
hmm
the problem is for him, he's with the Browns. I don't expect him to do anything right with him. And even if they start to, he'll
yeah,
get traded. He'll go somewhere else, and the Browns still won't see it. So
yeah,
that's just what
for
I'm
sure.
thinking. And Travis Hunter, two-way player. Not a whole lot of snaps as you'd
No,
expect, but he did play
yeah.
both sides of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, he had there was a couple plays on defense where I think you could tell that the size and physicality of the NFL is maybe a little bit much for him right now with his body size. I think he came into camp about 178, something like that. Not great for a corner in a physical sport. I think that if they're smart, you drafted him for a reason to help out your quarterback, play him mainly as a wide receiver right now, and
Yeah.
let him take some snaps during practice and let him build up his body so he's able to sustain the physicality of the NFL. But I mean, yeah, Grant, no, they did target him. He missed one tackle. He made another tackle. There was one play though where he got twisted around on
Hmm.
defense, and luckily for him, they didn't throw the wide receiver the football. But I mean, I just don't know if I see it in the NFL, a guy being able to play both ways that much.
Yeah.
And I,
And I think that's the hardest part is almost his size is going to dictate where he
mhm,
ends up.
I
Because
think
at
so.
receiver, I think he's going to be okay. You could
Mhm,
add a little bit of weight, but you could be okay.
yeah.
But at a defensive back, he's
Mhm,
really going to have to be able to endure so much. And I think that's what like Richard Sherman, some of these guys have talked
yeah.
about. So the first 3 seasons, it's going to be tough to see if it kind of weeds itself out. I would
Yeah.
love to see it because we
Yeah.
just don't get to see it very often. Everyone
Mhm,
said Shohei wasn't going to be able to do it, and we see Shohei doing it,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Incredible.
And like the thing is too is like you look at it and you go, if you have Travis Hunter going head to head with a full steam Derrick Henry,
Oh,
you're
dude.
not as a Jaguars coach, fan, owner, you're not happy about that because now there goes your number two pick more than likely because Derrick Henry is going to
Yeah.
mow him over at 178 pounds at corner. He's just not physical enough right now in his
Hmm.
body to be able to withstand playing both sides. I don't
Yeah. So I want to transition this a little bit because we are obviously talking about the
think.
Jaguars, AFC South. That's where we're going to start the division
Hmm.
breakdown. But before we get to that, I actually was at a conference this last weekend for work, and Nick Saban talked, and he talked about Derrick Henry, and that was one of his favorite players to coach, just because he would show
Yeah.
up, and every single day, Derrick Henry would show up and say, "It's a good day to be out here." Like he was so joyful to be able to play football and play it at such
Hmm.
a high level. Derrick Henry was, of course. But one of the things I love that Nick Saban said that you never saw, but you saw the evidence of, he would bring
Hmm.
every single player, he said, at the beginning of the season, he would say, "What is your goal?" And then the student athlete would say, "This is my goal. This is what I'm going to play." And oftentimes it's, "I
Hmm.
want to play in the NFL." He's like, "Okay, so are you ready to learn what it will take for you to get to that place?" And that's when he would give them the plan. And so the
Hmm.
goal, kind of like we're OU fans, it says play like a champion, right? Play like a champion,
Yeah.
play like a champion. So they're the same thing. They said, but it's not play like a champion. They said be a champion. And the way he articulated the difference in you be a champion and
Yeah.
this guy over here, if we all do this, that's when we'll win.
Well, yeah.
But it
I like
was
that.
such a good interview. And I was like, this is why he is the greatest college football coach we've seen.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
before we jump in, I'm gonna
Yeah.
shout out some of the people in the chat right now. We
Please
got
do. Thank
Kalen,
you.
Kimberly, Aldo, Diamond. Thank you all for being here with us live. If you want to, go hit that subscribe button and come back for our next episode when we talk two more NFL divisions.
That's right. That's right. And thank you so much. I can't ever see those. And so Tubby, he's doing all the work for us
Gotcha.
here for the fan support. Tubby, he's the number one guy right there. So, well, let's jump into it. We're going to go AFC South. And here's how we're going to do this. Again, this year's for the W podcast. If you've been with us since day one, this is like year 5, going into year 5, which is nuts.
Yeah.
And as we go into that, we've kind of tweaked it a little bit year over year. And so this year, I thought is for the division, rather than going team, which we've done in the past, which is fun
Yeah.
for us, but maybe
Yeah.
not fun for you all as viewers. We're going to go, what are the key storylines to this division? Maybe the big picture stuff you see, and maybe a
Mhm.
couple highlighted players. That's what we're going to do. So, Tubby, I want you to
Yeah.
kick us off, man. What is the biggest storyline that you see in the AFC South?
It's going to be, can the Texans find their offense again? Can the
Mm-hmm.
offensive line keep CJ Stroud upright and allow him to be the quarterback we know he can be? Because if they can, they should just absolutely run away with this division. But they did so much maneuvering along that offensive line that was bad. You traded your best offensive lineman, and then you traded a couple other starters. So can they develop that offensive line enough right now to be able to keep him upright and let him be the quarterback that he is, and let the running game, show for itself with Nick Chubb as an addition to Joe Mixon? Can they produce enough to be good enough to just absolutely run away with this division like they should?
Yeah, I 100% agree. Just to put that into context, they gave up essentially nearly one more sack per game was the difference last
Mhm.
year to his rookie year. And I think this is definitely their division to run away with. The other one is, can the Colts have a quarterback that can get probably the best wide receiver core of the
Mhm.
ball.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this team, the quarterback is the one piece that I think they don't have right now
Yeah.
on the offensive side of the ball. I know they still believe in Anthony Richardson. I think he's supposed to get first team reps. They still have Daniel Jones, and they have Riley Leonard and Jason Bean on this roster right now. They have four of the same guys on this
Yeah.
team. I don't get it, but I just don't know that they have anyone who can utilize the skill set they have. I wish that they would have made it a legit play for a guy like a Kirk Cousins, at least just to see
Mhm.
what if get these guys the ball,
Yeah.
because I think they should be, in theory, the biggest threat to the Texans right now. Because Jonathan Taylor,
Yeah.
300 rushes last year, 11 touchdowns. I still believe in him.
Mhm.
And then you look at the Jaguars. I think we know who Trevor Lawrence is, unless they're going to let him run the ball, which
Yeah.
we still haven't seen it. It's so frustrating. So I don't see that, and they're on the way out with Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby and what they want to do.
Mhm.
They just still don't have an identity enough to make it. But is there a strong the team? We're talking a little bit about offense here. Do you have a team, maybe the defensive side of it, that you think could give the team an outside shot?
I mean, I don't know about any other team in this division that I can look at defensive wise besides the Houston Texans. This is one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Hmm.
And you watched it and
Will Anderson.
yeah, they were playing second string guys and you're seeing these names and you're like, well, are you sure he's not a starter? Oh wait, no, he is behind, so and so. Oh, he is behind so and so. This defense, D'Amico Ryan came in and put his stamp on this team as
Such a
a
good
former,
coordinator.
yeah, as a former defense coordinator, as a former linebacker in the NFL. He came in and has built one of the best defenses in the NFL. They led the NFL last year in sacks. I imagine there's a good chance they do it again this year. And they even added to the defensive line in the edge rushing that was so good last year. So I think that alone just gives Houston Texans even more of a leg up because even if we saw it last year, the offense wasn't good, but they
Hmm.
still won this division, and then they wanted a playoff game because of that defense.
Yes, and I think that's the key. If they can keep him off the ground,
Hmm.
I almost said Deshaun Watson, C.J. Stroud, and the defense can play, it's going to keep them competitive. They won 10 games last year
Yeah.
with an offense that was so inconsistent and just sputtered at times.
Hmm.
The biggest thing I have is the offensive line is so finicky. It's like a bullpen at times
Yeah.
in baseball. And then how good are the running backs and how good are
Yeah.
the receivers? So there's a lot of
Hmm.
question marks. I think a lot of us have the Texans. The good news is this is a winnable division for them. But I want you to
Yeah.
do one more thing for me, Toby. This is off the cuff.
Hmm.
Rank the quarterbacks in this division.
Okay, so if I'm looking at it, it's CJ Stroud heading above everyone else.
Yes.
Then it gets tricky because
I'm
I,
waiting to see who you're going with too.
I'm not completely sold on Trevor Lawrence. I haven't seen anything consistently that makes me think that Trevor Lawrence should have been a first round pick, if we're looking at it, hindsight now. So I'm going to go ahead and throw Cam Ward number 2. And
Holy
then
crap.
I'm going to put Trevor Lawrence and then obviously whoever the quarterback is for the Colts.
Yeah, take your pick there. I still would put Trevor Lawrence only because at least we've seen he can be a
Hmm.
capable NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
Middle of the pack, that middle third. He's
Hmm.
not the bottom third. I don't know yet about Cam Ward. We'll
Yeah.
see. But I don't have a problem with your rankings. That's why I was curious, how high is Cam Ward
Yeah.
going to go? Because I knew that was going to be the question.
I really think that Cam Ward, granted, he doesn't have the core around him like Jaden Daniels had last year. I'm not saying he's going to put up the huge numbers that Jaden Daniels put up last year, but I think he can have that sort of effect because everything you hear from the Titans, and it's like, yeah, we love him as a player, but we love him so much more as a person. He's always
Hmm.
there first. He's always last. He's always running the team. He's already a captain on our team, engaging with everyone, not just the offensive side, the defensive side, the special teams. He's already leading the team as a rookie. And that's where it makes me, really, excited to see, can the on the field stuff match the off the field stuff from the person, can the player, become. And I really think that he has the ability because we have seen him get better and better each year in college. I imagine we're going to see him get better again
Yeah,
in the NFL.
I like to hope so. This division last year combined for a minus 314 point differential.
Woo!
The best, 0, Texans. So just so you know. I don't know if maybe we should tell this to the teams. The goal is to score more points than the other team. I don't know if you guys did that, but that was the goal to
I
win that
thought
game.
that
So
I thought you wanted to score less. I thought we were playing golf. My
Yeah, playing golf. This is pretty good. This division is the best.
bad.
But that's one of the teams. The other division we're going to talk about is the NFC South. Very, very similar. The
Yeah.
Panthers minus 193 last year. Not a huge. I mean, that defense was absolutely trash. They're
Yeah.
still not good right now.
No.
But I want to know what is the big picture theme that you see from this division in 2025 season.
What step does Bryce Young take this year? Do we see the Bryce Young at the end of last year where he looked like a franchise quarterback, or do we get the regression and see the Bryce Young that we saw at the beginning of the year in his first year in the NFL? I like to lean towards, I think he's going to be a good quarterback. What I saw last year, you added some offensive weapons. The offensive line got a little bit better. I think that if they can find some defense, this could be a team that could potentially push the Buccaneers in this division.
Yeah, so I would agree with that. I think Bryce Young, even in his preseason game, he looked like he was good. He was giving
Yeah.
Tate a couple of shots
Mhm.
there, so they've helped him, and he
Yeah.
just looks a little bit calmer in the pocket.
Yes.
The thing that I really like is how good can Michael Penix be? Can
Yeah.
he be an NFL caliber? Because right now it looks like he's and again rookie. I get that, and they
Mhm.
went one. They went 1-3 in his 3 starts towards the end of the season. But can
Yeah.
he make enough? He just seems low completion percentage, low
Mhm.
yards, throwing a pick or two here or there. But if he can do a good job because they have Bijan Robertson, watch out for what they can do with Drake London and I'm not gonna say Kyle Pitts. I'm sorry, can't do that. But I want to see. This is the sneaky team I would look at
Mhm.
for this year.
Yeah.
I think Panthers could be good, but I don't see them as a playoff team. And then the Saints, good lord, they are about as bad at the quarterback position right now. I think, as you see, we just talked about with the Browns, they don't have a clear path. Are they going to try to trade Alvin Kamara? I mean, there's the writing's been there for a little while.
Yeah.
This is a kind of a mess of a situation. So,
Yeah.
what are they going to even do? So, agreed. Tampa Bay, absolutely the team to beat in this division. Yeah, Bucky Irving, Baker Mayfield, the best wide
Yeah.
receiver core. I mean, this
Yeah.
team itself is. I mean, Emeka Egbuka is finally on an NFL team, and he's the
Mhm.
number 3 guy. But it
Yeah.
totally makes sense. I think it's going to open up a lot of doors for this team.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Buccaneers team is dangerous this year because granted they went out and they got them another wide receiver to throw in there with Mike Evans, who is aging, Chris Godwin, who has been hurt. But also we're not mentioning Cameron Brate or Jalen McMillan
Mm-hmm.
or Rashid White. They've got they got an offense, but they also went defensive side and they drafted one of my favorite players at a position that they desperately needed, which is Trey Amos. They needed a corner, no, not Trey Amos, Benjamin Morris. They drafted Benjamin
Mm-hmm.
Morris, and I think even though he was hurt most of last year, I think Benjamin Morris is a NFL caliber top corner, and we saw it in college last year. He dropped down the draft board because of the injury last year, but they went out and addressed the needs that they needed to, and I think this team could very well make a good push in the NFC.
Yeah, can you rank the top of the quarterbacks for these projected starters? And I think at the moment right now for the Saints, they technically have Spencer Rattler as the starter, but you
Yeah.
can pick your poison for that one. And then I have a
Yeah.
follow-up question about one of the quarterbacks being Baker Mayfield at the end.
Okay. Yeah. So it's Baker clears everyone.
Yeah.
Bryce Young, Michael Penix, then Spencer Rattler or Tyler Shough, whichever one you want to throw in there.
Okay, I 100% agree with that one. Here's the thing that people are saying. Last year, Baker Mayfield threw 41 touchdowns, which was 13 more than his career high, which was the previous year. 4,500 yards, which was 500 yards more than the previous career high, also the previous year. What is the realistic expectation for Baker Mayfield in this team this year? Is this a step backwards? Did we get a little bit too much Baker Mayfield, especially going into fantasy draft season? What should I be doing, Tubby?
Yeah, so I think fantasy-wise, I think the numbers will dip a little bit, but it's not because of Baker's play. I think it's because they know that they've got them a legitimate number 1 running back in Bucky Irving. And I think they're going to try to feed Bucky Irving, but also that's going to open up the pass game so much more for them because it took them up until about mid-season before they finally decided on Bucky Irving to be that guy. And that's when you really started to see that offense kind of, blossom. But at that point, Mike Evans was hurt, Chris Godwin was hurt. So you had Cameron Brate and you had Jalen McMillan, and that was basically it when it came to the passing game. And then once Mike Evans got hurt, we saw the offense even open up even more. So I think the numbers wise, they'll be a little bit less, but I still think that he's going to be a very valuable fantasy player and just be a player overall. I don't think the numbers drop because he's not playing better or as good, but I think it's just more due to he's maybe not going to have to throw it as much.
Yeah, no, his skill positions are absolutely insane.
Yeah.
So hopefully Bucky can stay healthy.
Mhm.
I don't like the hate. I've seen a lot of hate on him. So a lot, for
Yeah.
the record, we talked
Dude.
about earlier, Shadir Sanders. Those announcers that were on that game were so biased. That was insane. They
Yeah.
would dog Colorado for Shadir Sanders,
Mhm.
like what he did, and then they would
Yeah.
praise Jimmy Horn, who's on the Panthers side. I'm like, dude, this is the same team.
Same
This is
team.
the same
Yeah.
coordinator, same play caller, and you're
Yeah.
telling me I was like, come on, you
Yeah.
just don't like Shadir Sanders.
Yeah, no, for sure. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
I mean, and another aspect, if you look at Baker Mayfield, he actually led the NFL last year in touchdowns while being blitzed. He threw 17 touchdowns while being blitzed. So,
good.
A good portion of his touchdowns came while he was being blitzed. So I don't think that's going to be able to you're going to be able to do that as much because, like I said, you finally found that running back, and so now you're going to have to be more conscious of, are they handing the ball off or are they just going to throw it 30 to 40 times a game?
Yeah. Am I going to buy a different team's jersey than the Chiefs? No, but it would be Baker Mayfield. Not even a question.
Yeah, not even a question.
Yeah. The question is, do you do the Dreamsicle orange, or do you go back to Cleveland Browns?
No, it's absolutely the Buccaneers creamsicle jersey. Not even a question.
Yeah. I know. I'm glad they're bringing that back this year. They had something, again, random thing. People were upset about their logo on the helmet. Did you see that? They shrunk it just a little bit, and some people were a little up in arms about. I don't know why. Come on, people. We have better things to talk about. But
right.
Guys, that is the NFC and the AFC South predictions, and we are going to South. I said South predictions. We're going to have more of those later in the week, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. Thank you all again for joining the chat today. We'd love to know your thoughts. If you're watching this after the fact, you can definitely put your thoughts on these teams. Maybe there's someone that we missed, and you're like, you guys are completely blind. I've been following this team all year. We'd love to know your thoughts. That's what this is all about. So we'll be excited to continue this conversation. But till then, see y'all next time.
See ya.
See ya.